Okay, webinar time. Welcome to Content Bacon's webinar on everyday ways to use your content to create conversations. We are narrowcasting live from Porklandia, Content Bacon headquarters. My name is Dave Custon, and I'm here with my partner, Wendy.
Hi, everyone.
We're the co-founders of Content Bacon. And today we're going to have a really great webinar about how to create more conversations using your content. And so here's some really great facts that Wendy's going to talk about.
Yeah, so from a big picture perspective, a lot of people are very focused on getting found on the internet and getting found using search engines. And that's super important, of course, but being found doesn't create demand, it can only fulfill it. And what we mean by that is if you're not focused on the type of content you're providing for your customers, sometimes being found can be the worst thing in the world for you because they find you, they go to your site, and what you're saying, the story you're telling, doesn't convey the message clearly or doesn't, create trust, and you lose that opportunity with them. So again, just some things to think about is, top of mind awareness is less effective than ever. And again, what we mean by that is it used to be very effective to broadcast your message as mass market as possible, because that used to work. But now doing that top of mind awareness is less effective because there's different ways people find their information, and we'll go into that a little bit more. But then also, I think just companies are fundamentally distrusted. It's kind of like at our core. We just, we're very skeptical of companies, and businesses are only trusted by 58% of consumers. And when a company is distrusted, if you hear something negative about them, you'll believe it. Conversely, if you trust a company and you hear something positive, you'll believe it. So content, and we talk about this a lot in our webinars, and we'll talk about it more, but it's a great way to build trust. And then the other thing I wanted to bring up is search engines' diminishing role in the whole search funnel, discovery funnel. So, again, you used to, if you wanted an answer to something, you searched in the Google search bar and you found it. Well, there's so much other competition now that those search engines are being used less and less. It's not to say they're not still super important and probably still the number one resource people use, but things like social media are really starting to be more and more important on how people find and consume their content.
So just to put a finer point on it with the search engine, with the being found concept. Being found is great, or it used to be really great, but it's only great now if once a visitor is to your site, you're presenting the right information.
Absolutely.
So I guess to put it another way, if you're able to get someone to your site, let's just say you spend lots of money in pay-per-click, you get someone to your site, but all you have is static pages,
right,
no articles, no dynamic content. What good is that?
Yeah, and I think it kind of points to all of these things here. If that happens, you're going to distrust that company immediately, and it's just not going to be enough to move the needle at all for you, although you may be spending a lot of money to get to that point.
Okay, got it. Okay, so a couple of notes. May 19th, we have a webinar coming up about building a database and sharing your content with that database, best practices, how to do it, why to do it. And then over the summer, we're going to have a number of webinars with some very useful guests. Also, for this webinar, please have your questions ready. We're going to get to the end, and we're going to go to you guys for questions. So make sure you write those down now or throughout the process of the webinar. And so why does content matter? Why is it important? Why, in fact, are we, on some level in business? And we're advocating for content because it helps companies connect with their audience and their community.
Yeah, I think this chart is a great way to summarize why content matters. It's useful in helping your prospects know, like, and trust you. So they'll try, buy, and repeat and refer you. And really everything we do is based on this, and there's different tactics for each piece of this. So to me, this is the simplest way to not only describe why and what marketing is, but how content plays a role in supporting each of these actions.
So I guess if you think about the distrust element that human beings are inherently born with, how does content help a company combat, fight, address the natural tendency for people to distrust?
Yeah, I think a simple answer is, if I call you out of the blue or email you out of the blue and you've never heard of me, and my email is fairly promotional, is a salesy email, you're immediately going to distrust me, just because that's the environment we live in today. We're all savvy enough. We're sick of that. We know how to filter out kind of unwanted communication. If I get a call from you, but I've been on your email drip campaign, I've attended your webinar, I've read your blog, we're connected on social media, I've seen your post, all of a sudden that phone call is, different from me. It's not like I'm getting a cold call, even though it might be the same thing. All of a sudden, I'm getting a call from a connection, someone who I feel like I have a relationship with, even if I've never interacted with you. So, content is a great way to do some kind of pre-selling. It starts the relationship and it begins to build trust. Now, depending on what I'm putting out there, if the stuff that you see from me is all promotional and super salesy, then you might still have that distrust. But if I'm sharing really great information, really great tips, things that have helped you, well, you're gonna want to interact with me, and you're gonna value that. So I think that's a really simplistic way to look at it, but it certainly kind of cuts to the chase, I think.
Okay, great. So this is a quote that we absolutely love. Content is fire and social media is gasoline. So today we're talking about how to do more or have more conversation with your content. Um, uh, this is a great summation, if you will, of how or why to do that.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of funny. Someone started this rumor a few years ago that, hey, if I start blogging, the phone's going to start ringing, the emails are going to start coming in, as if that was, the surefire answer to create an inbound marketing strategy. And content is just one piece of it. You need it to have an inbound marketing strategy, but it's not like, I start blogging and all of a sudden I have inbound leads. And so that's what we're going to talk about today, is how to use the content you've been creating and add those extra elements to really start to generate ROI on your content.
Okay, great. So what are different types of content? I think to Wendy's point, a lot of people maybe think that it's just a blog, or a blog technically is a platform. So maybe people think it's just an article that resides on a blog, but it's lots of things, and it can be lots of things. And you can take your blog articles and you can turn them into a number of the things that you see on the screen. You can take an article and turn it into a video, obviously an email campaign, but blogs, or rather content, comes in many forms.
Yeah, I think content is just anything that helps you tell your story to your customers and prospects, and that comes in all different types of varieties. And depending on who your target audience is, they like different types of content. They may like a combination, they may like only visual, they may like to only listen to things. So, but it's comes in, multiple varieties.
Okay, so why invest in content? We're asked this question quite a bit. Where we advocate for investing in content. So why do it?
Yeah, so these are just, I would say, the top three reasons. I think there's probably, multiple reasons, but blogging and search results go hand in hand. And, Google is constantly changing its algorithm on how to get found. And SEO experts cite blogging as one of the most effective ways to make sure your content gets found by your target audience.
Well, what is it specifically about blogging? What is this? What does Google care about?
So Google cares about delivering the most relevant results that your target audience is searching for. So blogging is considered an authoritative source. So they want to serve up what is most relevant. So again, 10 years ago, you could stuff your article with some keywords, you could do some, stuff on the back end and you would show up, but that didn't really do the user looking for you, or looking for that particular topic or string any good. So Google, keeps getting smarter and smarter about it to, if you're searching for, 8 ways to grow my business, and there's someone that's been blogging on that topic, for years and years, those are going to show up higher than maybe, a website that just got put up that may be all about that. So Google rewards relevance and consistency and depth.
Okay.
So, if you want to get found by your target audience, blogging constructive content regularly and often is key. Social media, as I mentioned earlier, it's quickly coming on par with search engines and is the next most popular way for content to be discovered and consumed. 70% so a lot of people think social media is just for consumers, but a really, kind of interesting stat is 72% of B2B buyers use social media to research products and services. And, LinkedIn gets cited as a top choice amongst senior executives to look to connect, with people. And if you're active on LinkedIn, it immediately positions you as a subject matter expert in that area, which again helps you when it comes time to sell your products or services. And then permission-based email, many times when your prospects exchange their email address in exchange for more content from you, it's a great way to stay in touch with your audience and send them, smart emails, relevant emails that are personalized to what their specific interests are. And it's just, again, a great way to move your target audience along, the sales funnel.
Okay, great. So how does content lead to an ROI or return on investment?
Yeah, so a lot of what we're going to talk about today is we advocate for, as a company, a lot of things you should be doing, blogging, monthly newsletters, making sure you have company pages on your social media, that you're sharing your relevant, unique content. So what we're going to talk about today is kind of how to take it to the next step and really turn your content into a sales machine. So content and sales is the perfect partnership, and it helps build trust. So like I mentioned before, if you're constantly sharing relevant information that helps your target audience solve problems, you are going to build trust in your target audience's mind. And it's going to be a lot easier for you to then take those relationships to the next level with kind of content as your partner. It also helps differentiate you. If you go to someone's website and, let's say you're trying to choose between 2 accounting firms, and you go to one site and it's just kind of brochureware, it's got the, about us, it's got services, and it's got a contact page. And then you go to another accounting firm site and it's, there's a blog that, was just updated last week. There's tons of resources. There's an upcoming webinar on a topic that's of interest to you. Who are you going to choose? Who is going to get your business? And it's, always going to be the company that's sharing information. And then again, content works 24/7 and keeps the relationship alive. So if I attend a trade show as a salesperson and I meet 500 people, well, I'm going to be hard pressed to stay in touch with those 500 people on a weekly basis. But my content can, and my content can keep me top of mind with them. And then I can use that to determine who's more engaged than others and spend my time more effectively by reaching out to them. But content, can continue working for you so that you can keep those relationships alive.
I love the 24/7 idea. If you think about, if some of you on the webinar are your company's best salesperson or you're the owner of the company, think about how you might pitch or how you do pitch your customers or educate your customers. Imagine if you can have some kind of content, have your script, your language, your voice out there in the ether 24/7 available for when a prospect may discover you. I mean, to me, that's so exciting. I mean, I'm a business owner. I love that when I put my head on the pillow at night, I have some mechanism for that sales or educational conversation to still take place. That's pretty powerful.
Super powerful.
Helping is the new selling. This too, I love. I mean, this is really everything that we live and breathe. Helping is the new selling because, and this goes hand in hand with the skepticism.
Right.
It goes hand in hand with the BS meter that we all seem to be born with. And I tend to think about this sort of like a used car salesman, or the inverse of this is a used car salesman. The best salespeople are the ones that just kind of help you make the decision you seem to want to already make.
Right. Yeah, well, I think this quote is so powerful. If you sell something, you make a customer today. If you help someone, you may create a customer for life. And I think that's, again, that's what we advocate for. I think by sharing content and really, looking to give more than you get, it just all just works so wonderfully together. But by sharing content, you can help your prospects discover ideas and learn things that they may not even be aware of. So if you're only benefiting from those prospects that when they need your service, they go online or go to some directory and search for you and find you, I think you're missing a huge part of the population, because there are a lot of people who may not know what they don't know, and content's a great way to educate people, and so that maybe something that they weren't aware of, all of a sudden they're like, wow, I didn't know that existed, and I'm interested. So it's just I think a great way to ignite some of those conversations and reach more buyers. And then I think the same thing, goes hand in hand with social selling. When the people that are active on social media want to interact with other people, and it's just a missed opportunity. So many people aren't using their social network to communicate with. They're just, kind of voyeurs, and they're not really taking the time to take it to the next level. And you can really, dramatically improve your chances of connection. And, I would, give each of you just a challenge, like reach out to one person on your LinkedIn, with a personalized message. And I mean, I almost could guarantee you that you would get a result, or, tweet to someone and be more interactive. And I guarantee you'll generate conversations, because so many people just aren't doing it.
So a lot of companies have a difficult time with this. I think the mentality is that, how can I give away my secret sauce, or how do I give away, the special thing about my company? So how do you encourage not yet content generators to get over that and become content generators and be helpful and give away information?
I mean, I think it's just education. I think it's just realizing that the environment has changed, and with access to information 24/7, if you're not out there actively publishing content, then you're just being left out. Each of us carry around, a media company in our pockets, and if you're not utilizing it, then you just don't even have a chance of being relevant.
Right.
So, I think that the companies that still think like that, they should just look at the bigger companies, the more successful companies, and see what they're doing. And even some of the, oldest, what you might consider most stagnant companies, that have been around forever, they're embracing this.
So just get over it.
Just get over it and do it.
All right. Be uncomfortable.
Be uncomfortable.
Okay. 5 actions you can take. So, you don't have to take notes necessarily. We're going to send this, an archive of the webinar out. So here are 5 actions you can take today to use content to create conversations.
Yeah, and I was really excited for us to put together this content because I think there's just so many easy things that everyone can do. And again, I go back to I challenge you to take on these things and do them. And I really guarantee that you will create some amazing conversations. So one is to amplify your content through personal interactions.
I'm sorry. Explain what that means. Amplify. What? So that means you have something that's in existence,
Yeah.
right? And that's doing something. And then what does
Right.
that mean? Amplification.
So I guess, I'm basing a lot of these actions on the fact that your company or you are doing some of this, that you've got some foundation to build off of.
Okay, so maybe we should have mentioned that. This is assuming.
Yeah.
If you're listening to the webinar or you're going to listen to it later, this is assuming you're already doing something.
Yeah, this kind of goes back to, we have a webinar on our page, called If You're Not Doing These 4 Things, Your Marketing is Doomed. And there's 4 key things that every company needs to be doing today just to be in the game. And that's, one, you need to have a site that's device responsive, that's, a 2016 site. You need to if you haven't looked at your site or updated your site in, a couple years, your site is really outdated. And so you've got to get your site up to date. You've got to have a blog or some area on your site that you're adding to. We advocate for at least weekly, but at least monthly, that you're adding new information, blog articles, news articles, resource articles, whatever it is, but something that's new, fresh, and relevant. You've got to have social media, so you have to have a social media presence. You can, the big 3 are, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. There's a whole slew that, depending on what your industry in, Instagram, Pinterest, but you've got to have some type of social media presence and some type of email communication, whether it's a quarterly newsletter, a monthly newsletter, a weekly email blast, but some way that you're staying in touch with your database with relevant information.
Okay, so those are the basics. The assumption is you're doing that. Now talk about amplification.
Right. So amplify your content through personal interactions is, take the content that you're creating and send out personal emails to prospects or customers. Share things that you're already putting out there, but share it personally. So for instance, hi John, I thought you would enjoy one of our recent blogs, Unique Power Supply Needs of Data Centers. I'd love to get your feedback after you've had a chance to read. Thanks in advance. Again, you should do this so it looks super personal. Depending on the CRM system you use, there's plenty of ways to do this on a mass scale that looks personal. I don't care how you do it, and I don't care if you do, one of these a day or 100 of these a day. Doing this will lead to opportunities for conversations. People will want to interact with you. They'll have feedback for you, and it will open the door for you. Also, every person in your organization, especially your salespeople, they need to have personal social media profiles. So, and they should be interacting with your content on their personal social media profiles. So, if in this same instance on their LinkedIn page, which they may have 400 connections, they could, put a personalized post. Hey, I know all my system administrator friends will have some great comments after reading this. Post the article and then ready, go. And then all of a sudden you've got interaction with your community. So this is like super simple, so overlooked.
Low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, people are not doing this. And it's just an easy way to get more visibility with your connections and create more opportunities for conversations, which we know more conversations lead to more sales.
Okay. All right. Great. And so, and this is, for some clarification, this is almost like one-to-one amplification. There's other kinds of amplification.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Great. So, data is always important, of course, and look at results and follow up. What kind of follow up are you referring to?
Yeah. So if you're doing the 4 fundamentals and your company is sending out at least, some type of monthly newsletter or email communication, you can actually drill down into what's happening. And again, this is one of those overlooked things. People may be doing, the emails, which is great. I give you a lot of credit for that. But now, we're saying, how do you take that and take it to the next step and turn it into ROI? And so a question I'll always ask our customers is, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing with the results? And some easy things you can do is look at, okay, well, who opened that last email? And working with your sales team, you can actually determine some actions you want to take to the people that opened it. Maybe, they take that list and they do a combination of emails and phone calls. The click-through rate. So maybe within the email, you were promoting something in particular. Maybe it was one of your blog articles. Maybe it was an upcoming event. Maybe it was a resource guide. The people that actually clicked on it, that's a different level of engagement. So those would be, in my opinion, kind of hotter leads where I might, put those, first and follow up with those. So this is it's a little bit like sales 101. It's just a different way, to go at it. And it's an overlooked way because a lot of people don't marry the content strategy to the sales strategy. And this is kind of where it just works together so perfectly, and your salespeople can take what you've done and take it to the next level.
Okay, great. Number 3, get social on social.
Yeah, so this is again a really overlooked and easy kind of tactic to take. So in addition to you promoting, your content, you want to interact with other people's content. And if you've ever had anyone comment on one of your posts or send you a personalized message, it's like one of the most gratifying things that can happen because so many people aren't doing it. When you get, a comment, that someone like loved your post and got a lot out of it, it has an immediate impact. So this is like an easy way to start to build a relationship with people and, do more than just like their post. Like write a comment, like, write something about what they posted that resonated with you. And then over time, you can take that to the next level and pick some of the people that you've been doing this with and request a conversation, request a meeting. So for instance, hey Jane, I love your post and read them constantly. I especially love the one titled 5 Effective Ways to Engage Board Members with Short Fuses. I think there are a lot of synergies between our two companies. I'd love to schedule a call or coffee and brainstorm ways to work together. This will get you meetings. And again, it has to be authentic. This can't be like a manipulative strategy. Like you actually have to engage and make sure that what you're saying, is in fact authentic. But this is a way to take your social media efforts and use social media for what it's there for, and get social. And again, I go back to the people that are on social media, the people that are posting their blogs, the people that are posting links, they want this. They want to engage. So it's just such an easy and overlooked opportunity.
Sounds like work. Yeah. Sounds like actual work. Heaven forbid.
Exactly. Well, again, this goes back to that, that rumor that someone started that, if I blog
it'll just come
and do social media, the phone will start ringing, the emails will start coming in.
Yeah. People hate the work, right?
So this is just a little bit deeper. I wanted to go into LinkedIn because those of you that are on LinkedIn, I'm sure you've noticed now, anytime you log on LinkedIn, from your phone, you get some notifications like, you see people that have gotten a new position, a work anniversary or a birthday, and LinkedIn will provide this kind of canned response. So you can interact with them. It'll, you can send, happy anniversary, happy birthday, congrats on your new position, hope you're doing well. But I think the opportunity here is to personalize those notifications and to really, make them interesting and customized to the person and get to know your LinkedIn connections. Because again, the people that are on LinkedIn that are posting things, they want to interact. And so I always think if I were to take all of these suggestions and say, this is the one to focus on, this could create multiple conversations for you.
This one right here.
Each week, if not each day. Okay. Well, and I know you do this quite often, and it's super effective for you.
Yeah. Okay, number 4, give away something super useful that includes your time.
Correct. Yeah. So the idea here is that you're providing something to your target audience that that they would find useful, but it also might include a half-hour consultation, half-hour coaching session, a one-on-one assessment. Something that is going to allow you to connect with them. So, for instance, I'm showing here the HubSpot website grader, which is really kind of what put them on the map. I mean, this was something they did from the get-go that just, created a huge database for them. And I think what's funny about, if you read anything about HubSpot or read any of the books that, the two guys have written, it's all about inbound marketing. Yet, if you do anything on HubSpot, there's a follow-up call, there's a follow-up email. So
they do plenty of outbound.
They do plenty of what we're talking about here. They
plenty of paid advertising too.
Right.
Coincidentally.
Yeah. But I think when they started, they were more, I think more tied into this type of stuff. But what this does is it provides a way to capture some leads by giving them something really valuable and then including some of your time so that you can have a conversation with them.
Okay.
And so this is, again, I think just a really useful way to provide your target audience valuable information.
It goes back to being helpful.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Love it. All right, number 5, get curious. And this is actually part of our culture. The office that we're sitting in right now, it actually says be curious on the chalkboard. And you know what? We happen to think that's a great quality for any human being to have. But in particular in sales, in the helping economy, in the sharing and the giving away economy, how does being curious,
how
does that matter?
So if you read most people's social media posts, they're usually stating something, and they're sharing a blog, and again, that's really valuable, and that's all a great way to build your social media profile and to provide valuable information. But I think, going back to the concept about amplification, you can take it a step further and you can ask questions and then tailor your content to answer those questions. So, a lot of times for some of our customers, if we're researching a topic for them, we may go to some LinkedIn groups and pose a question, get answers, and then we create content that uses those answers, cites those people, and then we reach out to those people saying, hey, we used your content, and we build a relationship with them. And so this is something that each of you individually can do. There's plenty of Facebook groups, there's plenty of LinkedIn groups that pertain to your particular industry. And, they're the most niche groups you can think of are there. And so you can go there and just ask questions. So like here, Etsy, they're asking, who's the toughest person to shop for? Get all their comments, and I'm certain that this then resulted in some type of campaign to how to address that. Here's a LinkedIn, specialist or generalist, which works better for management consulting. So, this guy is, he's a management consultant. So this, provided him lots of comments where, he answered them, he engaged with them and started to build a relationship. So this is, again, just a different type of way to start that relationship with people and to begin conversing with them and determine if there's opportunities for business or referrals or whatever the case might be.
And so this is slightly related to this next question, but in this LinkedIn screen capture you have here in a group, what do most people do? They go in there and they do what?
They try to promote themselves.
Yeah, they do the written version of just shoving a business card in your face.
Exactly.
So they say, I'm the best management consultant. Check out what I've done.
Right.
And they don't contribute to that helping economy whatsoever.
Yeah, and I think that's the appropriate word to use here is, kind of contribute, and I think, in social media in general, if you look at how can I contribute, how can I add value, you're going to win, versus how can I use social media to win? I think if you really come at it like, how can I help someone? How can I, solve a problem? You can really start to build great relationships with people.
Okay, great. Just a reminder, everyone, get your questions ready. Okay, quick recap. Number 1, amplification. Amplify your content through personal interactions. That's a one-to-one relationship there. That's like one-to-one amplification. Concept number 2, look at the results and follow up. This actually means you need to look at the data, see what happened, see what didn't happen, draw some conclusions, and then drill down a little bit more. Get social on social. Again, it's called social media for a reason. The idea here is for you to socialize, and that means converse with other people on social media, and through the context of, or through the lens of your content, of course, and asking questions and sharing your content. Number four, give away something super useful that includes your time. We've said it. We've said it a few times now. The helping economy.
Yep.
Give your best stuff or advice away. And number five, get curious. This is some good advice for all parts of your life, but as it relates to this conversation, get interested in what someone's doing and try to build a relationship that way.
Yeah, I mean, I would recommend, carving out an hour a week to these things and just trying them out. Like you may be skeptical about them, just try it on and try it out and see what kind of results you start to get because I guarantee you will get results. This stuff works, and it works because it's authentic. It works because it's real, and that's what people that are on social media they want. They crave that.
Okay, like a lot of people on social. You're right. They're voyeuristic, and there is no socializing.
Right. And that's not a bad thing either. It's not, I mean, plenty of times I've posted something or, and not gotten any comments or interaction and been, had that brought up to me multiple times that people saw it. So it's not necessarily a bad thing if your posts are not getting interacted with. You're still getting exposure. People are still seeing your activity. This is just a way to take it to the next step and stand out. And, again, because so many people aren't doing it, it will have an impact. It's like, when someone responds back to a tweet, when someone reaches out to you through LinkedIn with an actual personalized message, it has an impact. It makes you want to respond. It makes you want to have a relationship with that person in some way.
So we're fans of data, proof as we call it, and here's some proof as it relates to content and the ROI and why to do it.
Yeah, I mean, again, remember, everyone's carrying around a media company in their pocket, and so everything we're talking about, everyone has the ability to do, but there's still such a small percentage of people doing it well. And so I think it's just such an opportunity for your company, no matter how big or small, to stand out and win against the competition. And that's, I just love, the digital age that we're in because no matter what size you are, if you take on these things and you do them well and you do them consistently and you don't hit the pause button, you will see results and you can compete against the big guys that have the bigger budgets and may have the huge staffs. And I think we always we know that it appears daunting, and that's why in this particular webinar we didn't get into a lot of there's so many more things you can do with automated emails and drip campaigns and you know um, like taking your leads and giving them values as to which ones. And we didn't cover that because we wanted to just keep it simple. There's nothing in today's presentation that you guys cannot walk away and do immediately, and that's important to us. But the reason why is that the facts speak for themselves. That 80%, 82% of marketers who blog see positive ROI for their inbound marketing. 70% of consumers who want to get to know a company or want to get to know a company through articles rather than ads. I mean, that's such an
That's
important.
incredible.
Yeah, it's just so true. It's how we consume. People don't want to be sold to. When you do a search, that's why pay per click is just going down the toilet. I mean, that's why Google is changing some of its revenue strategies because people do not click on the ads. They're not doing that anymore because they don't want to be sold to. And content costs 62% less than traditional marketing, but generates 3 times as many leads.
I don't think you need to hear anything else but that, right? Okay, awesome. So we're going to wait for some questions for a couple of seconds, but I have a question. What if you're an organization that is doing the four things, you're kind of doing the basics, and you have a salesperson or multiple salespeople? As a business owner, I can see wanting or thinking that I just want that salesperson to sell, sell, sell,
Yeah.
sell. They should be having phone calls. They should be giving presentations. Depending on the kind of company I have, they may not be in the office. They may be out all the time. How should I think about who does this?
Right.
Because this may not be a salesperson that does this, what we're talking about here.
No, I agree. I mean, it depends how your organization's structured, and if you have people that are, you know, they help with lead generation, you know, kind of appointment setters, closers. It really depends on how your organization is structured. My recommendation is that you have someone on the marketing team interacting with someone on the sales team, and that you're having this conversation on how we can use this, you know, these tactics and this information to improve our close rate, because there's just so much good stuff here that if you're not factoring that into your sales strategy, you know, you're just missing a big component, and you're missing, you know, what I just call low hanging fruit. Okay. But I think it just depends on, you know, and again, if you're using a more sophisticated CRM system, there's lots of ways to automate a lot of this and track a lot of this, versus if you're just a smaller company, maybe one person is wearing multiple hats. You know, that's why I recommend that if you just start out spending a little bit of time, an hour a week, and see what kind of results that you're getting, then you might determine, okay, this is really working. We need to devote more time to this. We really need to get, you know, someone who's, you know, doing this X amount of hours a week.
Okay. And if you're a small company, and I'm about to take the advice that you just gave, and you may have mentioned it earlier in the presentation, where should I start? Would I start on LinkedIn? Is that a great place to start rather than Facebook or Twitter?
Yeah, you know, I think so, because I think that people are on LinkedIn with a different frame of mind.
They're there to do business.
Exactly. So if you're on LinkedIn and someone reaches out to you through LinkedIn messaging and says, you know, hey, you know, I'd really love to get to know what you do better. You know, let's schedule a call. Let's see what opportunities we create. That's going to be very well received. Versus if you do it kind of randomly on Facebook with someone that, you know, you haven't had a business conversation with before, it might not have the same. Twitter, you know, Twitter, I would say, is kind of right there with LinkedIn, because again, most people that are on Twitter are also there, you know, looking to interact, looking for that, you know, real-time information. But out of, you know, everything I mentioned, I would start with LinkedIn. Most people that are on LinkedIn usually have a good amount of connections. I'll say over 100. Most people have connections that they're actually not connected to.
Right.
And so I think it's a good place, and people kind of know that, you know, they know, like, yeah, I connected with this person because, you know, I want to be connected with them. They seem like they'd be good, but then they don't do anything with it.
So along those lines, you know, I have connections on LinkedIn, obviously, hundreds and hundreds. And let's say I haven't been in touch with someone for a long time. I may have connected with them on LinkedIn 6 or 7 years ago.
Right.
What's the best way to reconnect with them? I think they need bacon. I think they need that.
Right.
But I don't want to come across as I'm just pitching, you know, out of the blue. What's a good way to reconnect with someone in a very inoffensive way?
I mean, I would figure out a way that I could help them. So you may say, you know what, I'm going to pick 10 LinkedIn connections each week. I'm going to look at what they're up to. I'm going to share a piece of content, whether it's mine or something else I found that I think could really help them. I'm going to do that consistently. And then based, you know, on that, I'm going to at some point reach out to them and have a conversation.
Okay. I love it. It's great.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys very much. We're going to just go through a couple more slides here. In case you don't know everything about Content Bacon, we are a content marketing service. We help our customers produce, promote, and post original content. Doing so helps our customers perform better online, improved SEO, and of course, having more conversations. And those typically lead to more opportunities, which is code for sales. If you have any questions, would like to learn more, have a conversation with us, we are always here to help. We give away our best information, as you guys know. So we're happy to help. We're happy to give you any kind of assessment on what you're doing or thinking about doing. You can email Wendy or myself at that email address. And of course, you can call us. And we will be sending this webinar out. And we look forward to seeing you on the next one.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.